This is Merrin Stockdale, and I'm interviewing Athol Sylvester Geale on the 26th of February 2007. Athol was a private in the 39th Battalion B Company. His army number was VX64649. Thank you, Athol, for doing this interview for the 39th Battalion. If we can start right back in the very early days, how did you become involved with the 39th Battalion?
Well, I did meet national service when I was 20 in Launceston, when I was 20, you see, and I finished my service. I came over to Melbourne to have a look around, and I did various jobs, and I thought, well, I'll join the army. So I went into the town hall, 13th, on a Monday it was, and I joined up there, and I think they sent us to Caulfield then, and then it wasn't long before I had to go up north, and it was in March that we had to get on the troop ship at Townsville. That's on the Taroona, you see.
Well, how did you get from Melbourne to Townsville?
Well, we got on the train, you know. We got on the train.
And were you actually in the 39th then?
Oh, well, I don't know what I was in. Really, I think, when I wrote home, I had my number and that. Yeah,
I think, according to the dates, you would have been the second reinforcement of the 39th. Was that right?
Oh, well, there could have been one before us, but this was in March. You know, I don't know whether, because I believe the original 39th got over Boxing on New Year's Day. That's the first I got. It might have been the second.
So you went up to Queensland, and then how did they get you to New Guinea?
Well, they took us to down to the Townsville there, and I remember the big mountain in Townsville there, you know. And we had to get aboard and
was that the Taroona?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
So that's as far as I got there.
Were you nervous or excited?
Well, I sort of expecting one day at a time, you know. I thought, well, I was pretty sick though, and I realised it was the same when I left the Taroona to go over to Melbourne, you see. So I said I'll never travel again on that.
You weren't a good sailor.
No, but you can't, when you say you've got to do a thing, you've got to do it, you see. So, but I wasn't the only one. But.
And you were sick travelling from Queensland to New Guinea, were you?
Yes, that's what
Even
I
there?
Yeah.
So you would have been very glad to get to New Guinea.
Oh, yes, I was in a way. I didn't know what was in front of me.
What were your first impressions when you got to New Guinea?
Oh, well, I saw how hot it was, because in Tasmania it's not like that. And I thought, well, it's a good job I'm only young. I mean, if I'd had a lot of weight on, I would have lost. But anyhow, we did our patrol work on our guard and everything, you know, time to go.
What sort of work exactly were you doing when you first got there?
What, in the army?
No, in New Guinea.
Well, we used to go a bit of marches and that, you know. I think we was from the aerodrome, I think it might have been 7 mile out, I don't know where it was, you know. We just were expecting the raids every day, and they'd come over, you know.
Expecting raids?
Yeah, well, the Japs would come over the hour and take about half an hour, I think, to get over. So we had to be on our guard all the time, you see.
And how were you on your guard? Doing what sort of thing?
Oh, well, I mean, you'd look around, you'd probably do an hour or a couple hours, in the sleep or that. But that wasn't too bad there, we're getting fed all right.
So the early days...
Worse than when it's in the jungle,
The early days weren't too bad.
No.
What sort of a uniform, because you've said how hot it was the uniform appropriate?
We had the shorts. Yeah, no, we didn't have the jungle green. Only the shorts and mosquitoes, and used to have a good go, and
And what did you do to get rid of the mosquitoes?
Well, they used to give us stuff to rub on, for about an hour, but then it'd wear off. You couldn't do much with them at all.
Did you get malaria?
Oh, I don't know how many times I had malaria, and then I had the dysentery as well.
Even in the early days?
Oh, well, it wasn't very long afterwards. I mean, not so bad going up, but when we had to come back, I got more.
Can you remember the name of any of your mates of this time?
Well, it's hard to remember their surname,
And they probably had nicknames, did they?
Well, see, you wouldn't know the others in the other sections much, And, I don't know whether, in my set, I don't know whether they call me Lofty, or whether it's in that, or when I was in the 37th, 52nd, because the names there, All and More, but I know these two brothers was in that section most of the time. And one of them they called Ozzy, and I don't know what the other fellow was. I've never seen him since, you see.
And what was the name of the section you were in? The number?
Oh, yes. There's only about 10 or 12, isn't there? What we get now?
Well, it wasn't yesterday, was it?
No, that's what I mean. You just can't quote me everything right what I say,
Well, you talked about the McDouey before. You were talking to us. What can you tell us again about, for the camera, about the McDouey? It made an impression on you.
Oh, well, I thought, this is the first active service I looked like seeing, and I thought how beautiful it looked like they'd just come out the factory, all these lovely big planes flying over, and I thought, well, they've let us off, they're not going to bomb any. Next minute, my mate and I saw all this around the ship, and then apparently one went right through, but the captain did the best he could, zigzagging away from the small boats.
Where were you when this took place?
I was up on deck, where's unloading, getting ready to unload the fruit and pineapples and tin, and we just got about to start and that.
So you were on the McDouey the first day it was bombed?
Yes, we was on the first out leave. So that was, so I'm lucky to got off it too. I don't know how many was killed on it. I don't know, must have been a few.
Yes, yeah. How did you get off?
Oh, well, how did I get off? I don't know how I got off. I put it on a boat. But we was a bit shaky, and
as you would be.
And they, I think it was rum they give us, some brandy or something. So
to help everybody's nerves calm down.
And I felt, I didn't know what was in front of me then. I just thought, oh well, one day at a time. So. Did
that change the way you looked at the whole war and the whole situation in New Guinea?
Did the what?
Did the incident with the McDouey, did that change the way you thought about things?
Oh, well, I thought, well, that's not as bad as later on, when it's all happened so quickly,
Well, you've had the incident with the McDouey. How did you feel about being in another country and so far away from home and having these things happen to you?
Well, Well, I felt a bit strange, but I knew I had plenty of mates around with me. Like, I mean, we all in together, I'd feel worse if it was on my own. But when we was on the march and that, some of the places, you could see the in the jungle distance fires going, and they told us somewhat that's the headhunters and cannibals. If you got off the beaten track too much, so we made sure we stuck on on the tracks as they told us. Hadn't been explored, some of it, you know.
It was really a new country.
Yeah, new, and you didn't see much sun or anything, you know. And
the culture that you were experiencing with these, that it was a completely different culture. Did you have any idea about it?
No, I didn't have any idea how the natives live and the villages and the animals. They got the pigs and everything. And then we went through a plantation there, and we had some of these pawpaws, you know, in the tropics, and didn't realise what insects there was, the scorpion and the bug, but you know your shoes and the leeches were there behind, but you didn't. Main thing, trying to get a bit of sleep, you didn't know what was relying on, you know.
So you put up with the insects to try and get some sleep?
Oh yes, and the others was the same, you know. Some of them additionally worse than you would, and the malaria, but you just had to keep going, you know. I mean, so I don't know how many days it took us, but we'd walk all the morning. You'd come in all different times, you know. You had to go. Sometimes some of the ones would beat you there first. Sometimes you'd beat them, but you'd have to keep going, but then start off again, you know.
This is when you're walking over the track itself.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, you were in B Company,
Yeah.
and you were, I understand, one of the first to go across the track.
Yes, that's right. And I don't know how many of us are left now. I don't know how many's in me section left. I wouldn't know. But I mean, they'd all be getting in because I'm 86. Well, some of the fellas was younger than I was, you know. Some of them, I believe, put their ages up and they didn't know where they'd go. And so,
Who were your leaders at this stage?
well, we had 10, but then we had the corporals and sergeants and
You can't remember.
I remember one fellow with me, Bill Davis. I don't know what happened to him. He was on the boat with me, but I can't remember the sergeant name. But I know one place there when we was at Kokoda. I know when we was coming back, our packs was left there. You know, I don't know whether we had to get back in a hurry, and we had to hold as much as we could. I mean, I knew we was outnumbered. They said you just sort of hit and want to get the best position up high, you know, so you can stop them from getting around to encircle you, you know, to ambush you and all that. And then we got to, I could never pronounce that place, Efogi, Butcher's Hill, I think. And we was glad to get the reinforcement. Well, 2nd 14th, I think it was. And,
Was this around Isharava?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we come back and they give us a spell then, and then the next thing I knew we had to get aboard a plane, just our guns and, you know, rifles, and we had to land up near Gona somewhere and land in the Kuno grass, and they told us that we had to run for cover, you know, before, and I forget how many was on the plane with me, so that was that.
You talked about leaving your packs. Did somebody else bring the packs on, or did you just leave them?
I don't know whether eventually left it, but I knew I had a big pack. That's what. I don't know whether they thought it was too heavy to go back with them or what. So I don't know whether it wasn't my idea or one, but I remember putting. But for all we know, the fuzzy wuzzy might have carried back, but I never seen some of me articles that I had in it, you know, letters and that.
You lost some of your personal possessions then.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's as far as I remember.
What can you remember about the track itself and the river crossings, for example?
Well, I was a bit nervous crossing the river because I can't swim. I thought, well, this is. I hope I don't fall in, because I did the same when it went in Sanananda there. I had to, yeah, but anyhow, I took my chances. Anyhow, I'm very careful, you know, because you had to be careful with your rifle around your neck and your pack and that. And I knew I couldn't swim like some of them could, you know. So I was a bit wary getting over them river crossings.
Can you remember any of the noises or the smells of the jungle?
Well, you'd see these, of a night time, you'd see these, what do they call them? Like butterflies, they shine.
Glowworms sort of thing?
Yeah.
Butterflies, iridescent butterflies.
Yeah, that must have been, yeah. Oh, you'd hear the noises and that, but it's pretty tired, you know, and they keep them going. Some of them said they do get up to trees too, you know, the snipers and that.
Oh, right, yes.
And one time I don't know where he was, but I was a second scout and the forward scout, poor fellow, he got shot down in front of me, you know, and because we were so far apart, and I had to go back and tell the section, and then I knew we was in that area. So.
Yes.
And another time was on a patrol, and not me this particular time, but another scout in front of us. We come around a bend, and three of these high-ranking officers, the Japs, come along. They didn't know we was in the area, and I think our officers or sergeants did the rest, you know, because you had to be very quiet.
Mm.
But you'd hear the pigs sometimes, the birds singing in.
Was there a lot of bird life?
I didn't see much bird life myself.
But you'd just hear the noises.
There is a lyrebird somewhere or that.
Was there any comfort at all? I mean, it was obviously a difficult time, but would you have said you had any comforts at all?
Well, I couldn't do much for us, you see, you know, you had to sort of make your own comfort when you lay down, you could assure you wasn't on the root of a tree or stuff.
And that was counted as a comfort.
And the rain's nearly all the time, it's just, you know, but then you get the steamy heat and you mitigate just the opposite then, you know. And then I don't know, they couldn't afford to send you to hospital every time you got malaria. I mean, they'd have and I remember one doc, I think his name was Vernon, I think.
Doc Vernon?
Yeah,
yes.
I think he was there. They did the best they could, and they'd give you the quinine, you know, tablets, and sometimes they wouldn't have it. You couldn't clean your teeth or anything, you know. Your teeth would get bad on you. But anyhow, that was...
What about shaving? Because...
they didn't seem to much mind. It was only when you got back to the barracks or camp, that's when they were worried about shave.
So you must have looked a pretty scruffy lot.
Well, we were, yeah. I hope they didn't want a photo. No, so it was... I had two brothers in the war too, but they're both dead now.
Well, we know that the soldiers of the 39th suffered and were wounded and became ill, and you've talked about malaria and dysentery. Can you tell us about how you were looked after when you were sick?
Well, I looked after it pretty well, you know. But I know when they took your boots off, all your feet were shoes, all the flesh was off your feet and that and everything, you know.
It had rotted off.
Oh yes, and they, oh no, we had to. But I think one thing helped me, I didn't smoke. I only smoked one cigarette at school.
And that was enough.
Well, my father smoked. He used to be a cane cutter. And he loved his cigarette. And some of my mates, first thing they'd want is a cigarette, because my brothers smoked and they said it's harder to give up some drinking, really. But I do like a red wine in moderation. The wife don't like me have any more than 4. She reckons I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you wouldn't have had
drink and drive.
You wouldn't have had the red wine up there, would you?
No, I used to think of it. But I just did one day at a time. I thought, well, I'll just depend on the good Lord, you know, if He looks after me. So, yeah. No, it seems like a dream to me now. And I don't talk about it much because the young fella, they don't really, they do their best, I suppose, your young generation, you know. But no, I'm in, and a lot of my mates I lost and what I went to school with on warships in Africa and that stuff. And so I'm in the Georgetown RSL too. But I'm all right. There's plenty worse than me that's got no legs at all, you know. I can get around as long as I don't show or take too big a step, you know.
Well, I'm glad you can still tell us some of your story. That's really appreciated.
I think every year I think someone said you've got Alzheimer's, you can't. But I still eat pretty well.
The Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels, did you have much to do with them?
Oh, well, they carried me out, you know, on the stretcher, you know.
Did they?
When the pole and me and was looking after me, you know. And
how many?
I had malaria, but then we had a guide with me. See, but what I could gather, they got off the beaten track where the enemy was. They knew which way to.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have probably ran into them. You see, so you didn't know what chances. No, I can't speak well enough. And that might help, you know, in the packs or something.
That must have been pretty hairy carrying a stretcher through some of that dense jungle.
Yeah, well, I didn't know what was going on. You see, they got to Moresby, you see, and then there's others there. So I got on there. Some of them later on, another ship there, I think. Japanese got one of the Empress one or some later on, but no, because I wasn't there that long really. So I think I went in March. Well, in November, I don't know what day, what. All I know is in November, but they give me, but they seem to think my nerves are pretty bad, and they sent me no training or anything, you know, for 6 or 12 months, and then they said, you're all right to go back again now. I said, all right. So I knew what I was going back into, but so 37th and 52nd, they'd been fighting somewhere else before too, you know. Mates there. So I don't worry much about anything after you come back from there. You think, well, some people worry about they got a sore toe, you know.
It's changed your outlook. Yes.
I better not swear.
So you'd be one of the few that with the 39th you went over the Kokoda Track, you experienced Ishiraba and all the horrors and Kokoda. And then you went on to Gona as well.
Flew over some of it.
And you were involved in the Battle of the Beaches.
Well, I didn't go to Sanananda or Buna, no.
No?
They carried on.
Oh, right.
No, I can't say I did that. No. And lost quite a few of them too, you know. Oh, yeah. So I don't know.
So it was about Gona that you got sick and you were sent back?
Yeah, quite a bit of fighting up in the trees. And you couldn't see a lot of the times. You'd be lying down 3 or 4 minutes and they'd coming overhead and all, you know, the
kunai grass.
Sometimes you couldn't see the enemy at all, you know. We'd have these.
You'd hear them?
What they'd do too in the jungle, if there is part of it, they'd have the snipers to treat. And if you walk through that bare patch, that's when you've got to be careful. You're not knocked off, or, you know, it's just with the trees and that. But if you had to go off that, that's where you had to be careful too. And when we got to Gona there, we thought they was going to put the gas on us, you know, the smell. But it was the dead, you see. We had our gas respirators with us, you know.
What, it was the smell of dead bodies?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That you thought was gas?
Oh yeah. So just tolerate them now, you know.
And that'd be the Australians and the Japanese, would it?
Oh, yeah, well, it'd be more or less both.
Both. Was that
because they were one of they put the dead body, some of them, in front to sort of guard themselves, you know. Unless I'm dreaming.
Trenches. Did you have trenches in various places or only at the beginning?
Oh, well, when we didn't have much of a trench. We didn't have much time. We had our shovel, you know, we could do a bit in that, but we're on the move, you see. But later on, they had to transfer towards the beaches, I think, you know, and Sanananda.
But you weren't involved in actual trenches?
No.
Can you remember about the food that they gave you?
Well, they'd give us best they could, bully beef and biscuits and emergency rations, and so they.
Do you still eat bully beef?
No, but I do like the beans.
All right.
Beans, yeah, I do like.
So it didn't put.
We do like beans.
It didn't put you off beans.
No.
Just bully beef.
Although the good bully beef's all right, I think it's fine, but no, I don't worry about that.
You've had your share.
Because I think the beans, that gives you dysentery as well, I think. but anyhow, yeah, we got home. I forget how many times I went once. But anyhow, I was all right. Plenty worse than I am. No, I lost some good mates there, and I think one of them was more and all. And so they come.
Who was the second?
As far as I know, I was only Tasmanian. In the 39th, and some of them, you know, they'd call you Tassie Devil, and in my section, they call me Lofty. I think I was a bit the tallest chap in there.
How tall were you?
Oh, if we get in, I might have been 6 foot or probably, but as I get older, I seem to get shorter. Yeah, but and then I'm in the 37. I get mixed up with them fellas too.
Yes.
You know, some of them. Because so many got the same names. No, it's only me being been over in Melbourne at the time and joined, and if I'd stopped in Tasmania like me try, see, a lot of my mates finished up prisoners of war. See, the ship went that way, and mine went that way, so it's just like a fate, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Just fate, like, you know.
Well, you told us before that you were flown back to Rockhampton. Can you tell us a little bit for the camera? Can you talk about that?
Well, as far as I remember, it had a train that sort of runs through the middle of the Rockhampton. You know, do you know Rockhampton?
No.
No, it runs through, and then they got me out to Toowoomba, you know, and I don't know how long I was there for, because I had malaria as well, you see, and then, but anyhow, when I thought it was right, they got me back to Tasmania, and I don't know how long I had off, and then I went down to Hobart there, and I met other veterans there that'd been the same way as myself, you know. Some of them, their nerves had gone a bit, and I remember nightmares for a good while, you know, because I wasn't married at home, my parents and that. But anyhow, I feel a bit better now, but I've never talked to a lot of people. I never say anything about it unless it's like Anzac Day when they get together, you know, they go to the pub and they talk, you know.
We do appreciate it this time.
Well, I don't know whether I could have told you more. But
So we've got, you were flown back to Rockhampton, and that finished your time with the 39th. Is that it? The 39th was disbanded?
Well, actually, as far as fighting, anyhow.
Yeah.
And then they,
And then-
and I don't know when I joined the 37th at all, but I finished up to 37th, 52nd,
Well, with hindsight, looking back on it now, it's over 60 years ago. What do you think is really important to remember about the New Guinea campaigns?
Well, I think that any young one should do that national service. It not necessarily go away, but to defend Australia. You know, that's what I think. One of the things I like to do. And otherwise, I wouldn't know anything about like a lot of us. You got to get that training. You know, they taught me. They taught me unarmed combat and everything, and how to kill the enemy. You know, in the throat, the groin, and the stomach, and not put the bayonet in too far.
And you did that training before you joined, did you?
Well, they give me at Conundra,
Right.
They did me that, you know, but when we got up there, they had the machine guns, you know, and I remember the excitement when the Bren guns landed, when they unpacked, you know, something good. Then they got the Owen guns, you know. So when the war finished, 1 minute he was fighting the Japanese at the ball, and then we were standing guard over them in case they changed their mind. And they said, well, any volunteer to go to Japan, you see. And I said, I've had enough.
Yeah.
So we had to wait for months and months for our points. Yeah, so it was about March or April I got discharged from the army. And that's about all I can tell you, you know.
Well, I think I'll just say on behalf of the 39th Battalion, thank you very, very much. No, that's been really good. So
well, I'm glad somebody's interested, because a lot of people tell me, oh, I'm not interested.
Well, this will now go to the War Memorial in Canberra, so future generations, years to come, will be able to look back on this, and it'll give a personal face to the people of that fought for Australia.
Well, when you come to think of it, we didn't know what was in front of us. We just had to do our best.
And you did.
Yeah, no, I mean, so.
Well, thank you, Athol.
Is that the lot?
That's it. Thank
Would you like a cup of tea?
Thank you, Athol.
Is that